of the Saudis, by the Turks, and for the Israelis? That's what America's become? Not a government of the people, by the people, and for the people? Well, Lincoln, I guess, wrote that. No, we become a government of the Saudis, by the Turks, and for the Israelis, according to many people. And it's a very uncomfortable thing for me to have to say on this radio show here tonight, by the way. It's very uncomfortable. But I'm not going to sit here and goose step and march and salute a war that I have no faith in whatsoever. Not only do we not know why we're bombing Assad's forces, but there's no reason to take him out of power right now. A nightmare is liable to unfold. What about the millions of Christians in Syria that will be possibly destroyed like in a Christian Holocaust? If we take out Assad, what will happen to the millions of Christians in Syria? Why do I have to ask this of you? What do you think the people who made the Syrian boys kneel down with their hands tied and shoot them in the back of the head and throw them into a pit? It even appeared in the front of the New York Times today. The animals called the opposition that Kerry's in love with put a bullet in the back of their heads as they laid there. These poor guys. That's the Geneva Convention to you? That's who you want to fight alongside of? Animals like that? Hitler did stuff like that. So we should join now the rebels who are like Hitler? What sense does this make? What will happen to the Christians if these animals take over the country? They'll put them in pits and they'll burn their churches to the ground. That's what will happen. Then what will you say? Oh, I didn't know? How would I know? How could I have known? How did I know? What do you want from me? Well, that's why you're listening to talk radio. That's why you're spending all of this time listening to me and saying, is he crazy or do I agree with him? Maybe he has a point. Maybe it's not as clear cut as those horrible pictures of the children in those death sheets. Just remember, I'm not just spitting out words here. I've given you very intense details for my opinion. I called it the four horsewomen of the apocalypse. I wrote a whole book about them, really, called Trickle-Down Tyranny. I try to warn you what was coming. Many of you bought it. Many of you understand. Samantha Power gets up today and says there's nothing in the UN for her. This is a leftist. These leftists are amazing to me. Hypocrisy is their middle name. They cite the United Nations when it comes to attacking the American people and American sovereignty. And today she says the UN is nothing to her when it comes to international affairs like bombing Syria. So in other words, when the UN wants to seize your guns, that's good. If the UN wants to occupy your soil to take away your weapons, then they would, oh yeah, the UN, we have to abide by international law. Yes, absolutely. Gay rights, yes, international law, that should trump American law. Oh, absolutely. Oh, you mean bombing? The UN has no bearing whatsoever on that discussion. How can you believe a word of these women around Obama, the four horsewomen of the apocalypse? I'll be right back.